So the question I want to answer today is this. Should I stage my home before listing it for sale? Well, the quick answer to that question is yes, especially if you mean by that, should I do some work on the home before putting it on the MLS? But there's more to staging than that, and we'll talk about the issues related to it. Remember, right now you have a home. You live in a home. But as soon as your home is listed for sale, it's now a retail product. There's a huge difference between the way we live in a home and a house that's a retail product. For example, the place that I'm in right now, as you can look around, this house has been staged for sale. In fact, if you were to walk through it, you'd probably quickly be able to notice that this actually isn't someone's home. And we'll talk about what those important differences are. One of the things you absolutely need to do before listing your home for sale is go to a new builder tract. Go through the model homes and look carefully at what they've done. They spend a fortune, even if it's a small, inexpensive condominium, they spend a fortune trying to make those places look as good as they possibly can. They're absolute pros. When you walk through a new model home, look carefully at what things you see and what things you don't see, and most importantly, compare that to your home. Essential staging tip number 1, declutter. You want to get rid of all of your extra stuff. Walk through the house carefully. Extra clothes, boxes, toys, things, stuff stacked in the garage. You want to get rid of all of that. Remember, you're going to be moving all of your stuff at some point anyway. You might as well start moving through it now. You may decide to get rid of some things, and that'll save you money on moving costs. If there are things that you don't want to get rid of, put them in storage. So much better to have those things in a storage container somewhere than cluttering up your house. Essential staging tip number 2, depersonalize. Make it easy for someone to imagine it as their home by removing personal reminders that it's yours. Depersonalization includes anything of a personal nature. Pictures, family mementos, religious items, anything specific like that. It's really important to get rid of it. Remember, it's not your home that you're putting on display. It's a retail product and you're trying to cast the widest net possible. You might love all those family pictures of wonderful times on your refrigerator. Your buyer doesn't care. They're just going to see a mess. Same thing with religious items. Presuming that you don't care about the religious beliefs of whoever's buying your house, get rid of the things that is specific to your religion. Now, tips number 1 and 2 were very inexpensive or even free. They just involve a little elbow grease on your part. Now, the next couple things I'm going to talk about may have you spend some money, but I'm going to give you some reasons to consider that there are things that you should be doing as well. Essential staging tip number 3, neutral tones. This definitely will involve spending some money, but the trend right now is light interior colors. Take a look at this house. This is a house that's actively on the market right now in Aliso Viejo. Note the colors on the walls. Now these folks obviously spent a fortune on a custom paint job, right? But I guarantee you, there isn't a model home in the United States of America right now that has anything even remotely like these folks have on their walls. The reality is they are hurting their chance of getting a top dollar sale. Here's a better example. Neutral tones are more inviting, less intrusive, and they make the rooms look larger. As 75% of potential buyers prefer light and bright homes, you'll be appealing to them with colors like these. Staging tip number 4, upgrade improvements. This area may require a pro to advise you and will likely involve spending some money, but it's a very good idea. Earlier this year, I was involved in a sale of a home in San Juan Capistrano. It was a nice executive home of well over $1 million. But before putting it on the market, the owner took a long, hard look at some of the things that were dated. He had square white tile countertops, weird colors, some odd bathroom fixture choices, ancient light fixtures, and he spent a few bucks replacing all of those things. He took, for not a whole lot of money, a dated home and completely and totally updated it with a few choice upgrades. He did get a pro to come in and walk him through the things that were absolutely essential, and I'm sure that helped save him some money on the front end, and all of it helped him make more money on the back end. Staging tip number 5, hire a staging company. Working with a staging company involves 2 different steps. Step number 1 is an initial consult. For somewhere between $250 and $500, a staging company will come out and tell you all the things that you need to do to your home. These are the pros. These are the exact same type of people that the home builders use, and they will come in and look at your house not as a home, but as a retail product. They'll try to figure out the size of furniture that a room needs, how to put certain furniture in certain places to maximize the usage of the space. This kind of insight is genius. And then, if you need it, they will also rent you furniture. Now, the cost of that can range between $1.50 and way up to $5 and $6 and $7 and more dollars a square foot. Seems like a lot of money. But the way I counsel home sellers to think about it is no matter how much money you spend on staging, putting furniture that fits, that's current and attractive, that cost is absolutely less than the cost of your first price decrease. There's some other facts to know about staging as well. National Association of Realtors does all kinds of surveys about this, as do other places. A staged home spends 90% less time on the market. Literally, they sell in 10% of the time on average than an unstaged home. Also, staged homes sell for 17% more than unstaged homes. Lastly, and this is a big issue, the average return on investment for a staging is 400%. I've seen some numbers that show as high as 6 and 7 and 800%. Meaning, $100 spent on staging gets you back $800 more in price. There's absolutely no way to beat that. Here's the thing about staging a house. It really enables the buyer to visualize what it would be like to live in that as their home. Take a look at these pictures here. This is a home that I recently showed some buyers in Huntington Beach. It's a beautiful home in a tremendous area that's listed for just under $1.3 million. But my clients had a really difficult time trying to make themselves comfortable and imagine themselves living there. How penny wise and pound foolish of these sellers. They had this beautiful home that should be commanding top dollar. But because they haven't spent an extremely small amount of money, they've almost made it impossible for somebody to walk into the house and see it as a warm and welcoming place to live. Now, I hope this was very helpful to you and it gave you some things to think about. If you need some more advice or assistance in selling your home, or you'd like to hear about more of the strategies that I use to help a seller obtain top dollar for their home, you can call me, 949-413-2371. Also, you can email me, michael@housemgroup.com. And then lastly, it should be right above my head here, there's a little dot. Click that. That will take you to my website. There's a way that you can contact or have more questions for me there. Thank you so much and have a great day.